Hello and welcome, this is Rooflemonger, and this is the tips and tricks guide for Jiren, the new DLC character and the strongest, I was going to say man, but he's not really a man, alien? I don't know. Strongest whatever he is alive. And in this, as always, we'll be going over his basic moveset here, so I'll be covering his specials and supers. And got to be talking about a lot of other stuff here. A lot of talk about his key blast stuff. So I'm talking stand S, down S, jump S, all sorts of stuff here. Some gimmicks he has, some safe jump setups, and some more stuff. So without any further ado, let's get right to it. Alright, so starting off with our specials and supers, let's talk about the Infinity Rush, aka Glower Power. So, the Infinity Rush is quarter circle forward, light, medium, or heavy, and he just gives you this awful stare, and his stare is enough to break you down. So, light starts up the fastest, but has the least amount of range. Medium starts up a little bit slower, but has more range, and EX, well, you guessed it, most range of all, and also has a different knockdown. So, the light version here has a bit of a wall bounce, and so does the medium, but wall bounce is more suitable for bigger follow-ups. Like, there's quite a bit of combo stuff you can do off that. And the EX bounces in such a weird way that you can actually go into his stand heavy command grab, because his standing heavy is not a punch, it is a grab, because Jiren's just that strong. And yeah, for the most part, combo-wise, medium's almost always going to be the go-to, as it gives that lovely wall bounce that you can either combo with in the corner, or if you are a little higher up, you can go for air dragon rushes for free of charge, don't need no assist, right? So, medium, for the most part, is the go-to. Although, if we set up our guard here, and say we set up our opponent here to reflect, if we go for, like, any given block string here, I see here, medium, it ain't gonna do the job, right? So, if you want a true block string, you gotta go for the light. And the light, and these are all punishable on block, I should tell you right now. They are all punishable on block, but the light version specifically gives a good amount of guard stun, and at which point, you know, you can just kind of call an assist to take over the block stun, and then leave yourself to do whatever you need to do. But yeah, so mostly a combo move, although there is some other utility we'll talk about later. But yeah, still an important move nevertheless. So now let's talk about the counters. So I did make a video about this previously, so I don't want to go into it too much, but suffice to say, the counters are quarter circle back, light, medium, heavy, and special. Light, medium, and heavy are physical, and special gets projectiles, and also you can hold the special for a slightly longer active counter. So the quarter circle back and light will get all mids and highs, so that's jumping attacks and all standing attacks that just aren't lows. The quarter circle backwards and medium will get all lows, and the quarter circle backwards and EX, well, it just gets everything, like, it's just straight up. And also, it is on frame 1, meaning you can use this as a true wake-up, and you can pretty much get everything dead to rights. The projectile counter is just what it says. If he blocks any projectile with it, he's coming for you. Now, just so you know, the enemy does have a chance to cancel out their key blast, be it on ground or in air if they have the appropriate specials, to either an invincible move, like if they have an uppercut or, say, an invincible level 3, or they can just vanish out. Now, that said, if they vanish out, if they vanish too quick, the grab gets them anyways. There's a manner of timing to it. And if they do vanish out, then you can just freely counter vanish them and smack them in the head. So if you have a bar, you can always negate them trying to vanish out, and you always have guaranteed damage on the table. Now, that said, this is basically at its scariest when the enemy has 0 bars. If they have 0 bars, there's simply no way out. So our next special move up here is the Grand Charge. Quarter circle forward S, and Jiren charges forward here with the shoulder, and see, there's some energy. And what does that energy mean? Well, it signifies that, yo, he don't care about projectiles. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a weak projectile, it could be a beam. That's Masenko is a strong category beam. Trades with everything that's super strong, and anything less than a super strong beam, it totally destroys. And Jiren don't care. If you're doing your beam, Jiren's still gonna smack you. This move also has one of the dubious, I guess, properties of being the least negative special on block that he has. And it's actually worthwhile talking about. There'll be a segment about that later. But yeah, so short of supers, because if you do a level 1 super or something, he will not be able to go through that. Just because of the fact that the game don't let you play that, right? But not too many people are going to be tossing out raw supers mid-screen, so for the most part, this basically destroys everything, any kind of projectile. The only thing is the range is a bit limited, and honestly at the range you kind of want to use it at, not many people are going to be chucking out projectiles anyways, making it of a somewhat dubious use. Now moving on to our super moves here, the Colossal Slash is his default level 1, this is DHC super, and he tosses out this massive old fireball. And yes, this move is air okay, just so you know. So you can do it on the air or on the ground. And as far as projectiles go, projectile supers that is, it's pretty standard. The one thing going for it is it does last a little bit longer than the average super, meaning people with quick supers can get a second super in. Now I know that concept is not as strong as it used to be in Season 2, but still, if you're at the point where you just need some extra damage, it'll be extra damage to say the least. Also lasts long enough to work with oddball supers like Broly. So far, as far as DHC super go, it's pretty alright. Next up, we have the Colossal Uppercut. And, you know, pretty much as advertised, it's pretty colossal as far as uppercuts go. Now, obviously, mid-screen combo use, very limited to say the least here. A lot of slide knockdowns you get, you might be lucky enough, depending on height, just to kind of dash forward and get it. And if you're a little slow in the draw, you actually might whiff. So it's going to be mostly in the corner you're going to be doing this, if you are so choosing in with the super. The one thing to note is all supers, if you're not aware, have a minimum damage value. So the Colossal Uppercut has a higher minimum damage value than the Colossal Slash, the projectile. So the minimum the Colossal Slash, the projectile, can do is 814 damage at the end of a very long combo. The minimum the uppercut can do at the end of a very long combo is 888 damage. So if you're just simply looking for more damage, the uppercut will always give you more bang for your buck than the projectile will. And our level 3 is the Blazing Magnetron. So Jiren just smacks you across the face and then gives you the what for right in the stomach, and that's basically all he needs. You don't need fancy martial arts when you have strength. So it's pretty standard. The hitbox is actually very large. That whole giant explosion, as you see right there in front of him, is basically a hitbox. So he can hit from further away than you think it can, as you can see there. And also, it does hit behind him a little bit. So if someone vanishes behind you while you're doing it, you will hit them. So woe to be the first person who finds that out for the first time in the middle of a match. As far as level 3s go, also, it has a higher minimum damage value than most level 3s. A lot of level 3s got buffed their damage values, and Jiren's is still above most of those. The minimum damage the level 3 for him can do is 1,789 damage. So compared to, say, Android 16, who also has a fairly high damage level 3, even with minimum scaling, his is only 1,716 damage. So even then, Jiren is ahead of Android 16 in damage. So yeah, once again, when you're just looking for damage, Jiren is your boy. Now, we've covered all the special move stuff here and all that, so let's just talk about something that's very unique to Jiren. Every other character in the game, when you hit the heavy button, you smack him in the face, you kick him in the face, you do whatever you're going to do. But Jiren, he don't do that. Jiren, his stand heavy is a command grab, straight up. So yeah, so as far as command grabs go, it is a bit on the slower side, you know, compared to Goku Blue's light grab or Broly's light grab. It is not quite the quickest, but it is serviceable. Like, it is roughly in speed with, like, the medium grabs for Broly and Goku Blue. What are the rewards? Well, one, just so you know, you are always allowed to cancel into your standing ki blast from this. So, just in case you were not aware, and if you were so inclined, then you just go right into a level 1 super, or into a Vanish combo. Do level 1 a little faster than I just did there, because you will drop it otherwise. But yeah, there we go. So it's up to you on that front. Now, one thing I want to talk to you about is, can you combo off it in any meaningful way? And the answer is yes. So in the corner, it's simple enough. Here, I'll give you the fancy extension version. And then you can do down H, slide down, all that. So corner, it's good. But mid-screen, you know, you don't always want to burden bar, especially considering, you know, the changes of the bar system, right? Sometimes you're not always going to be willing to give the bar on either the level 1 or on the Vanish. As you can see there, I'm sorry I'm dropping them, but, you know, we're talking while we're doing this, right? So what can we do? And hey, you know, remember, you got assists, right? So not every assist is going to work in this scenario here, right? But characters like Broly, as you can see there, easy enough. And once again, we drop it, you get the idea. Beam assist as well, also, you know, pretty much kind of easy enough. Same deal. So yeah, just keep in mind the assist, because even a slow command grab is always a threat that always has to be respected, right? People say, oh, well, I'm just going to react and get out to it. Those are the people who are looking for it. If they're looking for a command grab, that means odds are they're not looking for something else. You can only keep so many things in your head that you're looking for at once, right? And, you know, a lot of times people just get caught by dumb stuff. Like, you know, say the enemy's blocking. And if you go through your whole block string at the end, you go for the grab. That's a little obvious, sure, right? Because, you know, you already burned through some options. But if you're anticipating you're going to get blocked anyways, just go for, like, the old one, too, and just go for it right off the bat, right? That's the kind of stuff people don't look for. And that's what the kind of situations that tend to get people grabbed more often than not. So, yeah, it's a decent tool. It's always better to have a command grab than not, right? Because you are allowed to do command grabs out of block strings, and you're not allowed to do that for dragon rushes. So just keep it in mind, and it also certainly helps if you have an assist that lets you combo off at mid-screen so you don't have to burn through a bar. So let's talk about Jiren's assist. So Jiren does his lasers, and that's kind of all there is to it. The one thing to note is Jiren, the hittable part of Jiren, the assist, is well behind the lasers. So if you're looking to just kind of rush forward and hit him, you do have to get past the initial laser. And what does it do? Well, it's a wall bounce. So no matter where you are on the screen, it will bounce you to the wall. So on any given basic combo, you can kind of just homie dash and follow up. That's all well and good. In the corner, if you can finish with it, it will let you get a Dragon Rush into whatever setup you so wish. So say an eminently basic combo here, right? We can just go ba 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 ba. He hits, and then we can just kind of follow up, right? So when it comes to corner carry, it's very comparable to the beams. Say, you know, Goku Black, Super Saiyan Goku. So corner carry wise, that's fantastic. Although obviously, when it comes to the reach department, this doesn't quite match up to this, right? So using it in neutral on its own, maybe not as advisable. It's mostly going to be for combo and for block pressure. Although if someone's a little overzealous in charging in, once again, since there is no hurt box on him, any stray hit might actually hit the lasers and not Jiren itself, and they might get caught up and get smacked. So it has some mild use as a defensive assist, although certainly no, you know, Yamcha or uppercut assist, right? But still, overall, I gotta say it's a solid assist. The block stun also is a little bit better than average. We don't have the exact frame data at this time, but just going by the visual look, I gotta say it's a little bit better than average, and that's pretty decent too. There's not that many assists that have a lot of block stun. Block stun wise, I say it's probably comparable to a beam, maybe a frame or two more. Not sure, but yeah. So overall, it's a serviceable assist, and it's pretty downright decent. Alright, now let's talk about something just downright silly. So, people talk about Goku Black. Goku Black, the one thing he always had is this. People call that the 2H of the gods, aka down heavy of the gods. If that's the 2H of the gods, this is the 2S that goes beyond the power of the gods. That hitbox is what you see is what you get. It really does go that far. No fooling. So, yeah, let's just talk about the basics here. 1. Reflects projectiles. As you can see here. Very strong in that regard. So it won't reflect heavy projectiles, so like a beam or something of the like, it's not going to do that. But anything that's like a basic key blast, no matter the angle, as long as you have the time appropriately, there we are, then it's going to beat it for free. So what do we do with this move? Well, we know it deflects basic key blast for one, that's great. And we know it has a pretty ridiculous hitbox for two. So basically, if you feel someone's generally threatening anywhere in front of you in the air, just take them out of the sky. So just like a down heavy, and Jiren's down heavy does hit behind him, by the way. This is a proper launch, which you can then follow up just like, you know, any other down heavy in the game. And it's just really, really good. Now, also, like a down heavy, it is designed, you know, to take out homing dashes and the like, but it does work in a slightly different manner. So Trunks, he's going to do his instant air dash heavy at us. And if we did the regular down heavy, well then, hey, you know, just like you always expect, right? But that switches sides, and sometimes we don't want to switch sides. So look at this instead. So this freezes people in place. It's basically kind of like armor, although not in the traditional sense, at least as it's shown in the game. But if the enemy hits you, it's almost like a counter. Let's look at it that way, because Jiren already has a lot of counters, right? So the enemy is stuck in place. So there is situations where they'll be able to instant air dash, and the down heavy might they might safe jump through it or something and be able to block on the other side, right? This, no such dice. If they pass through you with a hit at all, as long as it's airborne, they will freeze in place and you will bop them very well. Much the same here for your Hail Mary full screen homing dashes. They'll just be held in place and you can blast right through them and just go for it from there. Now, unlike the down heavy on the ground, the hitbox beside people is a little suspect. As you can see here, you gotta get a little closer. Versus the down heavy, we don't gotta be particularly close at all. So there's still different uses. They want to be used for different things. But if you have someone just going in the air over and over and over, just feel free to run at them just down heavy. The hitbox will at the very least make them think. And like a lot of stuff, like, you know, say we have Vegeta. We have the old runaway Vegeta here. He's just tossing key blasts, waiting for you to get frustrated and homing dash. So he can uppercut you out of the sky. And in this scenario, no, just run up and just blast him out of the sky. Don't even play that game. So as long as people are in the skies just trying to play lame and threatening you and all that kind of stuff, a simple dash up, down S will ruin their day, and this move is really, really, really good. Alright, so now we talked about the down S, let's talk about the stand S. So Jiren's stand S is very unique, actually. It's kind of in a category all its own. It shares some properties with some other characters, but yeah, so as it stands, you know, looks alright, I guess. Hits full screen, unlike a similar move in, say, Adult Gohan. You know, also you can't crouch it, goes full screen. Like, it's a real threat. Like, you can kind of treat this as a beam light for all intents and purposes. So, is it a weak ki blast? Well, yes and no. So, that's how it deals with other weak ki blasts. So it'll destroy them all, just like Nappa, just like Broly. It is a strong weak projectile in that regard. However, it is unique in another way. Unlike Nappa and unlike Broly, this don't care about your homing dash one leg. You cannot homing dash through this quote-unquote basic projectile. So it is treated as a real projectile as far as homing dashes are concerned. Now, just to ease your scientific curiosity if you had it. So what happens when it goes up against Broly? Because Broly also has, you know, basically top-end class basic projectile, right? Well, basically they trade, right? The only thing is Broly doesn't have to stop at the first one. So all things being equal, you'll beat out the first one, you'll tie with it, but then the other ones will just kind of beat you up. So in that regard, if you're just trying to spam projectiles at each other, Broly's going to win. But then keep in mind too, Broly's, you can homing dash through Broly's, and people cannot homing dash through Jiren's, so it's definitely give and take, and Jiren's is definitely somewhat unique in that regard. Alright, so we talked about 2S, we talked about stand S, so let's just round out, let's talk about his jump S's. So all three of his ki blasts are really good, no matter how you want to do it, so, and that's very much by design. But yeah, so Jiren, his jumping S is kind of similar to Teen Gohan's bombs, if you recall those. Although you get to kind of choose the angle. You can either shoot him downwards by holding down, or just leave him go straight across. If you do connect, you will have the enemy bounce briefly, and for the sake of staying neutral, you can just chuck one out, homing dash, and you'll get a combo afterwards. So unlike, say, stand S, these aren't like particularly strong projectiles or nothing. You can homing dash through them freely, so you're not getting out of jail in that regard. But yeah, so very handy in combo structure, to say the least. You can check out the companion combo guide video on that. But yeah, so you can kind of threaten basically a small combo every time you do one of these guys, because if it does connect, you are always able to follow up. So this is a corner example, but you get the idea, right? Versus a lot of people, if they do something, they always got to vanish, burn a bar, and now that's not going to say not viable anymore, but it's certainly not as good as it used to be, because now your bar gain will be hurt because of the changes to how meter gain works now, right? So just being able to homing dash freely after ki blast is pretty strong. Now, what I want to show you here, specifically in this section, is a nice little trick. So I'm sure, as you guys all know, if you hit someone with a move, you're able to special cancel afterwards, right? That's basic knowledge. It's basic fighting game 101. But what you might not know is you are still allowed to cancel even if they homing dash through it. So if we do, say, our just basic key blast here, and they homing dash through it, we're still able to cancel. So we can give ourselves basically a defensive option select. So if it hits, well then whatever, you got your key blast in if you're just trying to harass with like key blasts. And if they did happen to homing dash through it, then hey, you might just protect yourself. And what is it? So it's just simply enter your key blast and then immediately enter quarter circle forward light. We're doing light specifically because it is the fastest of the options for the eyeball lasers here. So if we do this and they happen to homing dash through it, and we better do an actual jumping one, there we go, then that comes out. So them homing dashing through it counts as the hit for the purposes of special canceling. So we basically defend ourselves. These eyeball lasers have no hurt box. They are all hitbox. Jiren is safely behind them, so if they attempt to go through it, they just walk up and go right into your eyeball. So right there, protect yourself again. So it's not too difficult here. I'll show you the motion just so you guys know. So all it is do whatever your key blast is, and then immediately just go into that. And if nothing happens, nothing happens. Oh well. And if it does, well then, great, we just protected ourselves. Simple as that. So if you are looking for that homing dash follow-up, then yeah, you're going to have to commit to that, right? But if you're just looking to harass, and you're scared of the possibility of the rando homing dash, if they do successfully homing dash through it, then you just defend yourself and did a little damage while doing it. Now here's a little silly one, but it's kind of an important one. So hey, Jiren, his normals are above average. Maybe not quite Android 16 or Broly, but they're above average to say the least, right? So his jab goes a little bit further than most people. He's got a nice down medium comparable to, like, say, adult Gohan. And his stand medium goes farther than you think it does. And what do I mean by that? Well, here we are in the round 1 fight position, right? So start of the match, badow. It hits from that far away. So being a stand medium, it's a lot faster than most moves that can hit from the round start position. Be they specials, some people have down mediums. His down medium also reaches from full screen, but some people have down mediums that reach from full screen, but being a stand medium, it's just quicker, right? So at the start of any given fight, if you think people are going to challenge you right away on something, it's just really as simple as to go badow, badow. His down heavy will reach from that range on a special, a normal cancel, and then you just kind of go from that. So obviously it's only really applicable in the neutral, like, round start position, but still, it is something the enemy has to respect a little bit, as it starts up quite quickly. A lot of things that are comparable that start off a round are not going to be able to beat it out. So just something as simple as this into, first blood is definitely enough to shake some people. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to show you here is not solid play. It's very gimmicky, and you know what? It just might win you the game. So, we talked way earlier on in the special section how the shoulder charge special is the least negative of the special moves, meaning it is still negative. So if I try to do it and I try to jab right away, yeah, I'm going to get beat. I'm done, right? So it is not my turn. However, what it is not is punishable on block, and it just happens to be negative enough for this funny little gimmick. And what is that gimmick? Well, this. So even like Vegeta's tied for like fastest stand jab, coming at 6 frames. So even a fast normal at 6 frames, basically there's enough of a gap where you can go for your counter immediately after the shoulder charge, and if they hit any button, they're gonna get hit. Now, the thing is, what button are they gonna hit, right? So if he does that button here, and I go for the low counter, I'm gonna get hit. And much the same here. If I do this, and he goes for a crouch low, I'm going to get hit. Well, if you're especially daring, I suppose you go for the EX, which gets everything. But yeah, you got to think what character you're fighting. Adult Gohan's definitely going to start with a low, right? A character like, say, Goku Black here, well, he literally can't produce a low, so it's going to be a mid no matter what it's going to be. But yeah, if you're just looking to kind of... Let's be honest, if you're just looking to scam someone, this is pretty good scam technique. You make them think it's their turn, and you can go from there and counter them and just make them feel pretty dang dumb. So let's talk safe jumps here, and for this I got a lovely amazing colored assistant Jiren to help us out, because there's more than one layer to this. But so what is the safe jump? Well, here, we're going to smack Jiren, and when he gets up, he's going to try level 3 us, right? So we're going to do our own level 3. And very simple here, we're just going to do instant air dash heavy. And what's going to happen? Well, we missed because he was invincible, but we had time to block, and then we can just punish him freely, right? So it doesn't matter if it's a level 3, it doesn't matter if it's a wake-up uppercut. This very basic concept with this very basic timing is we do our level 3, they have a fixed wake-up time, meaning they cannot get up any faster or any slower, and due to the property of just the timing, our instant air dash heavy, if they are standing normally, be it, you know, crouching, standing, whatever, if they are there to be hit, we will hit them. And if they are not there to be hit, like say if they were invincible, we will still land in time to block. And that's great, that's perfect. But also, besides level 3, a lot of people have level 3 safe jumps. There's also a bit of a safe jump with his level 1. So you can kind of do whatever combo, it doesn't really matter, and do level 1. And all we gotta do is very slight delay, and once again, instant air dash heavy. So very slight delay. And if, say they don't wake up, say they up tech or whatever, it's still going to connect. So same dealer. Oh, I suppose we can better do it Down+S, to keep the corner. So all we're going to do is just wait a split second. And then we caught him. Easy peasy. It's all it takes. Nothing too fancy. Nothing at all like that. So we also have a safe jump on the level 1. That is a lot rarer. A lot of people have safe jumps or some sort of the matter on level 3, but less so on level 1s. Now that we just talked about all these safe jumps, Jiren can kill safe jump setups. So here we are again, we're going to do our level 3, and we're going to safe jump that nasty old Jiren. He can't stop us no matter what we do. Oh, what was that? So, his EX counter, once again, if you're not aware, starts up on frame 1. So, it's not the matter that he wasn't invincible, wasn't there to be hit, and we get the block in time. He was there just fine. But the problem is he was in his counter state. So if you try to safe jump Jiren when he does his EX wake up, your safe jump is not safe no more. You will 100% get beaten out and get countered. Thanks to the fact that he is countering on frame 1 of his wake up. So if you are the kind of person that you know they're going to threaten you with a safe jump, so you don't want to do a wake up level 3 or something, right? Anything they do that is a safe jump will lose to EX counter. So just keep that in mind, because it's a very handy tool to have in your pocket. Alright, now speaking of a general game plan for Jiren, honestly, he's a fairly orthodox character. He's not going to really gimmick you out hard, he's not going to hit you with the nasty mix-ups or nothing like that. For the most part, he plays it straightforward and honest. His normals are good. His jump jab specifically is one of the better jump jabs. So if you're trying to catch people jumping, all that, a lot of people do, you know, medium into light into heavy or whatever. His is a lot closer to Piccolo's. Not as good as Piccolo's because he doesn't have the disjointed hurtbox. But hitbox-wise, it's fairly similar, so you can use it much in the same regard. So if the enemy is, say, jumping. So if I run forward, oh, cool, gotcha. Boom. And we just kind of finish out from there, right? Not the biggest thing in the world, but for a lot of characters, you know, it's going to be a varying use. He does not have a down heavy in the air like a lot of people do to finish into a more proper combo, but still, it's something. Now, speaking of just kind of basic pressure here, first before anything else, when applicable, you do want to start with down light. Maybe not when someone's directly in your face, because it's slower than his standing light, but his down light does not scale. So if you do this, you're basically going to be doing full damage like if you started a combo with like a raw down medium and the stand medium. So keep that in mind. But generally block string wise, like this is all like, you know, one true block string, so you don't got to worry about reflect or mashing level 3 or whatever. And if you want to keep it a true block string, then you can end with the light laser eyes, and then say a very basic example, everything got blocked, cool. Then you call an assist and keep your pressure up from there, whatever it may be. It could be something very basic like, say, instant air dash M. Something like that. Also, due to the extreme range of his down medium, you can also threaten from down medium even that far away So, and you can delay it or, you know, keep people guessing, or just run forward and just go for the heavy if people are being overly defensive and worrying too much about seeing the higher or the low, and they stop seeing what's in front of them, right? So that's basic block pressure. That works with basically almost every assist in the game. Once again, with Jiren, just gotta play strong fundamentals. I don't got a lot of strong gimmicks for you on this manner. If you think they're just going to be jumping around everywhere, tossing key blasts, run away, then hey, Down+S is your answer. Just literally run forward, Down+S in their face. Because it's not really contestable. The range is absurd. No basic key blasts can beat it because it's protected against basic key blasts. And if they're just going to hip hop around all day, just dashing forward and doing the real basic thing is going to do a lot better than you think. Also, keep in mind when you're doing any amount of combos, keep in mind these side switches. So Jiren gets to choose what side he is on in a combo without any like fancy timing, you know, like say a Kid Buu or a Bardock or something. So literally, if you're in the corner, just do what you're going to do, down heavy, switch sides, and it's kind of literally cut and dry like that. Don't got to worry about it too hard. Jiren gets to very easily choose what side he wants to be on in a combo, so make the most of it. That all said, do not be afraid to hassle people with your basic Key Blast suite. Stand Key Blast is very strong, faster startup than most beams. Obviously, it is still a weak projectile in the end, so it will lose the beams if it comes to that. But you can't homing dash it. His aerial basic Key Blasts are very good. Once again, you get full conversion easily on hit with the downwards one. You can use the option select we talked about earlier in the video, so if you're getting a little happy with him, people starting to homing dash, then the option select can still easily shut that down. So yeah, just play good is basically the answer I give you. I'm sorry I don't got like, oh, here's the sick mix, or, you know, here's the left-right gimmick, here's how you easily guard break them off the snapback mix. Like, he doesn't really do that. Jiren just rewards straight up fundamentals, straight up solid play, and if you do it, then he's one of the more damaging characters in the game. He can put out a lot more damage solo than most characters can, and he has the tools to have a strong neutral and just kind of go from there. So yeah, I guess that concludes this guide. Overall, Jiren is a strong fundamentals character that will reward a strong fundamental game plan and a strong neutral. If you're looking for sick mix-ups, sick pressure, all that, Jiren's not really the guy for it. Which I think is very fitting with the character. Jiren is never the tricky guy in the anime. In the anime, he's basically just like, no, let's just do this mono and mono, square, square, fair, fair, and go from there. So that's basically what he is in the game. He is kind of just solid. He has no real weaknesses, I guess, although having no grimy stuff, I guess, in Dragon Ball FighterZ is kind of weakness in of itself, I suppose. But yeah, he's just there. He's got all the tools you need, but you gotta have real solid play. If your playstyle mostly involves in having people crack and guard or making them guess a lot in, like, you know, coin flip situations, Jiren will not be able to help you out with that. But still, overall, a solid character, good damage, and yeah, that's all it really is to say. So that's it for this video, so thank you very much for watching. I hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Dragon Ball.